Okay, so I'm going to try to break down my findings on the Kabbalah practices of mysticism, because it's funny to me that anytime you talk about mysticism, people always want to come back with stuff about the Kabbalah. So I'm just going to put my findings out there so that people can see without having to do so much work of what exactly is going on. I mean, you can do this stuff yourself. It's anyone can do this. So the first thing we look at, when I say we, I want you guys to understand that we are talking of the entity by which is communicating the information to you that is operating on a collective level. So it's going to be difficult to do this and stay in line with divine law. I'm going to attempt to do this in line with divine law. I don't know how many times I'm going to have to shoot this because it's hard to talk about Kabbalah and it be in line with divine law. So, the first thing we look at is, where did these teachings come from? Okay? That's the first thing. Where do these practices originate from? So we trace that back, right? So we know, because we have been given the Enoch codes, where the Kabbalah has originated from. And I'm sure the people that wrote the Kabbalah, they know too. They do. They know where it originated from. So the best measure that we've come across after reading the Kabbalah and thinking, there's no way this is what everybody's talking about, this book right here. Because we got the Enoch codes first, so we read the Kabbalah after we got the Enoch codes. So if you look at the books of Enoch, this is the first way you could tell what is going on with the Kabbalah. You look at the Kabbalistic or Judaism version of the Enoch, the book of Enoch, and then you look at the Ethiopian version of the book of Enoch, and you put them side by side. Because what happens is the Kabbalistic stuff originates from the stuff of Enoch. So if you put the Ethiopian and the Judaism one side by side and you look at them, you can tell that one has been scrubbed. It's very apparent if you put them side by side. So then we start digging further to see what the Jewish people are talking about when it comes to the book of Enoch. So we have this right here. This is the Judaism book of Enoch. It's got this page right here, and it's ancient technology. And this is the craziest part. The center, that kind of looks like Jesus, doesn't it? With the astrological signs around it. Black Jesus. Boy, when the Jews tell the truth, they really go all out, don't they? So then you have their pictures of their ancient technology that's on the floors. It's talking about the Enoch stuff for 2 pages. Two pages of truth. And then the rest of it is just this stuff that is not really, it's a calendar, but their calendar is not even right. And let me show you the price tag. Right. For $50, you get 2 pages of truth. That's what the Kabbalah looks like. So then if you even want further proof, all you got to do is talk to the people who are the ones that are practicing this Kabbalah, because we absolutely were interested to know what they had to say. So we tracked a couple of them down and started asking questions. Well, let me tell you, it didn't go so well. They don't take kindly to asking questions, and they really don't know what's going on anyway. They've been lied to as well. Because, like, let me give you an example. So when we finally found one of these Jewish religious leaders to speak with us, we were speaking of this system right here and wanting information about how to use this. Well, we had inside information from one of the girls that we came across on our journey that the Jewish priests use these wheels to balance people in life. But we couldn't find any Jewish priests that were interested in talking to us about this. So the only thing we would have to deduce is if you have information, ancient information like this, okay, and you're using it for good, what does that look like? And if you're using it for bad, what does that look like? Because honestly, the Enoch calendar has a lot to do with measuring astrological bodies against reality. So all we got to do is we just look around and we see what is the fruit that this is producing. What fruit is it producing? Right. So one of the Jewish religious leaders gave us another way we test is to see the depth of the parables and their understanding. So one of the Jewish priests, we were talking about initiations through angels, which is what you have to do if you're using the Enoch calendar correctly. You're initiated by angels. So the Jewish priests replied to us that they do not, say if you have a king and he's surrounded by guardsmen, the Jew does not invite the guardsmen to dinner. They invite the king to dinner. See, the problem is your parables lack depth, and they also sound as if they were passed down and not revealed. Because what king allows you to approach and offer him an invite to dinner without going through the guardsmen? Which one? What king does that? Yeah. And another thing, if you really want to test a measure, is you can ask them about the Kabbalah. And they will tell you they've been studying the Kabbalah. They've been studying the Kabbalah for 20 years. They've been studying the Kabbalah for 40 years. They've been studying the Kabbalah, studying the Kabbalah, studying the Kabbalah. Well, let me tell you guys something. Me, as a sovereign mystic, have been practicing for 2 days. So, if we've been practicing for 2 days, I think we know better than someone that's been studying for 40 years. Because who do you want? The one that's studying or the one that's practicing? They have been lied to them own selves. They don't even know the truth. Their literature has been scrubbed. And the stuff that is passed down word to mouth, I'll be willing to bet, is inverted. Studying the Kabbalah is like riding one of those roller coasters at Six Flags that turns you upside down with a whole bunch of people on it and just go round and round and round and round. That's what studying the Kabbalah will get you. If you guys really want to get down to business, what you need to do is you need to start studying symbols. Yeah, you need to start studying symbols, because the last thing you want to come across is one of these rainbow warriors decked out in duality and rainbows all over the place. You might want to figure out how many initiations people have been through and what types by the symbols that they're wearing. It's going to be a lot more useful than studying Kabbalah. Because trust me, I've met ones that have been studying it for 40 years and they're still claiming to be studying it. So study the Kabbalah all you want, but we're going to the top. So that's the whole, if you want to research Kabbalah, it's in a short version for you right here. We said it first.